We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully your day is going well. It is Tuesday, but I want to warn you ahead of time. This is being recorded Monday night, and we're doing a TikTok live. A lot of shit going on today. It's been up and down. It's been all over the fucking place, and I thought it was appropriate to do a live today because I know a lot of folks out there have a lot of things to talk about and things they need to know about what's happening. You can't always count on the media to give you all the facts or the truth even. So we try to come here and talk about those things. And fortunately, I have a lot of people able to help me out. The people that sit on a panel that can answer questions that I can't or whatever, different insights, those sorts of things. But we also talk to the people in the crowd too, people that are listening. We want to hear from as many people as possible. I firmly believe the more people talking, the better. We have with us right now TJ the Plumber. He is somebody that's on the panel and we talk to a lot. He's also a moderator, which is absolutely essential when we do lives because we got a lot of Trump-fucks out there causing problems. So TJ, I'm a little winded about all the shit going on today. How about you?
Yeah, I have a headache. But one thing that I've come to the conclusion about today is that there is a very dangerous game being played by chaos agents over Donald Trump's ego. And
oh yeah,
and it's not just the media. It's the media, Netanyahu, Putin, other world leaders, and I mean, I would say mostly it's the media, but they're playing with fire here in the safety of Americans.
Well, yeah, Donald Trump is known for getting played. He got played by Putin. He got played by Benjamin Netanyahu. He got played by Kim Jong-un. He's probably getting played by Iran too. Let's just encapsulate what's going on and where we stand right at this point so people are up to date. Shit's moving fast. So Israel decides that Iran has nuclear weapons. So they start the war and they start bombing Iran. And then, of course, Iran starts bombing Israel. And Israel's going, wait a fucking minute. This is causing us some problems. So Bibi Netanyahu gets in Donald Trump's ear and says, listen, we could use some help on this shit.
Yep.
Now, we know our intelligence agency has said, yeah, there is no nuclear weapons there. But Donald Trump apparently knew better and felt like he needed to do Benjamin Netanyahu a solid. And so he says, well, I'm going to be thinking about bombing Iran and getting rid of those nuclear sites that probably don't exist. He said, I'm going to give it 2 weeks. And then in 2 days, he's there with B-2 bombers, drops a bunch of bombs, some Tomahawk missiles and stuff, and he starts getting kickback. People are angry at him. He thought this would make him look strong. So now he has to do something else. He says afterwards, well, I hope we can come to some peaceful resolution to this. Yeah, you just bombed a fucking country, a Middle Eastern country, a country tied to terrorism, and now they're just going to let it go. Donald Trump said he had an absolute win. He got everything. It was an unbelievable thing. And then his own Defense Department came out and said, yeah, there's really no way to know if we really got all of it. So we don't know if it was a win or a loss. And then Donald Trump comes out today and says, well, no, before that, of course, Iran hit a U.S. military installment in Qatar, sent about 10 or 15 missiles over there and blew the shit out of it. Apparently no one was injured, and that's okay, and that's not surprising because then we also hear that Donald Trump knew all about it, or at least that's the rumor. He knew all about it, and it was like a tit-for-tat thing. You did this to us, so now we've got to maintain our face and hit you. And apparently Donald Trump was cool with that. The last thing he does, where we sit right now, he says, well, we got a ceasefire. It's all over. How long is that ceasefire going to last? Sounds like forever to me. That's what Donald Trump says. Unfortunately, the people in Iran say, yeah, I haven't seen any deal. But if Israel stops bombing the shit out of us, we'll stop. So this has been a big mess. We got people on Fox News. We've got people in the Republican side claiming Donald's the greatest military strategist in history. And it's the whole thing is just so fucking ridiculous. I can't believe people are buying into this shit. Nobody with a reasonable mind is, of course.
Right. And I know this isn't like a breaking news kind of live, but it just came across that Israel did another strike on a nuclear site in Iran. Just
Today.
it just came across like just now.
Well, see, that's what I said when I did a TikTok, and Donald Trump says this is a ceasefire. He says a lot of things. He says a lot of things and then does just the opposite. We're not going to raid farms and hotels. And then 2 days later, he says he is. Donald Trump loves being the hero, and he knew he was taking a beating for making those bombing runs, which totally confused him. He thought it would make him look tough, but people hated him for it. So he had to hurry up and try to relieve the pressure, so he had to become a hero. He said, are you up for a ceasefire? Are you up for a ceasefire? Well, yeah, but okay, we got a ceasefire. That's what he does. And then he claims victory, and later on we find out he loses. So now you're saying Israel still hit another Iranian target. Ceasefire is not over. Go ahead, TJ.
I stand corrected on that a little bit. The report just popped up, but the report says 13 hours ago.
13 hours ago.
I don't know why. I mean, even 13 hours ago, that doesn't really add up. I didn't hear anything about another missile attack on Iran.
Well, I guess the bottom line here is based on what we know from history with Donald Trump, the Middle East, Israel, and Iran, to actually think this is completely over with is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had Israel fighting with regarding the Palestinian and the Gaza thing for 50 years, 60 years. This stuff is never over, certainly not permanently. And just because Donald Trump says it's over and the Iranians say, well, we don't have an agreement, that tells you something right there.
Well, I truly believe that that strike on those nuclear sites would not have happened if it wasn't for Donald Trump's fractured ego about him always chickening out. And then,
oh, yeah.
And to compound that, Bibi Netanyahu's in his ear going, you got to do this. You got to help me out. Because Netanyahu knows that going head to head with Iran, he's not going to win. He's almost out of Iron Dome missiles.
Right.
And it's reported that like Iran has some crazy amount of munitions that they've been stockpiling.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that as a last resort, he wants to pull us into it. Well, pull Trump into it because Trump is an idiot. To pull us into it because he knows he can't defeat Iran head to head.
No, I mean it's kind of the same situation that Russia had and America had with Afghanistan. It's not like they're a stronger country. It's just all the logistics of it and how they fight wars and stuff. This is not a winning combination. You go into Iran and start a fight, and let's remember that's what Israel did. Israel claimed they were fearful of something going on in Iran. There was no evidence. Our intelligence said there's no evidence. But this is the kind of stuff Bibi Netanyahu's been doing for years. They played us one time before when it came to Iraq and WMDs. Remember that? Yeah. We got played, found out it was a lie, and we looked foolish after the fact. And this is pretty much the same script.
Absolutely, it's the same script, and I can't believe anybody's fallen for it. But to further that problem, this is not like striking Syria or striking Yemen. This is a completely different machine because Iran has technology. They have weapons that they buy from Russia, from China, from North Korea. They're not the same animal as some of these smaller countries, that we've struck on before. So yeah, that's why Israel or Netanyahu is shaking in his boots about it because he knows that this is a formidable problem for him.
Yeah, no, I know. We've got some Trump dipshits out there already, so keep your eyes open.
I already got a few.
Okay. I'm going to pull in Rebecca and Eric, the analytical Iowan. Welcome, guys. I appreciate you showing up and helping me out with this thing. You know what I found interesting? I'm curious what both of you guys think on this. Donald Trump attacks Iran. And did he not realize that Iran is an ally of Russia? And Russia is supposed to be his best girlfriend in Vladimir Putin. So Donald Trump makes this bombing run. The former president of Russia, Medvedev, says, you know what, we got a lot of people who are going to give Iran nuclear weapons, so good job, Donnie. And then Donnie sees fit to make a threat to Medvedev and the Russians. Yeah, we're so powerful. You saw what we did. That's just part of it. We're going to. And I'm thinking, why would you want to get in a pissing contest with Russia? And there's a conspiracy theory going out there, and I'm curious as to what you guys think. And I addressed this on TikTok. Some people were saying, well, you know, Donald Trump and Russia are in on it. What they're doing is play acting this thing out, and they're going to steal all the oil from Iran. I say, you know, I don't know. That's kind of a long game, and Donald Trump may not be around for the long game. Russia has a lot of oil, and they kind of got their hands full with Ukraine. I don't think that's what's going on. I think that Donald Trump is just talking out his ass and maybe steps on people's toes now and again. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think he's talking out of his ass a lot. I mean, he doesn't know what's going on, and he's trying to look like the hero, but this is also a distraction. I did some TikToks talking about it. Multiple times in the last few days, the Senate parliamentarian is coming out saying, that can't be in the big, beautiful bill. That can't be in the big, beautiful bill. His bill is dying in the Senate, and he's trying to manufacture a win with this Iran thing. And
Yeah.
he was just sulking the other day on Fox News about how he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. He would have,
Yeah.
he would have had it like 4 to 7 times by now, but they don't give it to conservatives, is what he said. You know,
Yeah.
he's
They don't give it to
trying
warmongers.
He's trying to manufacture wins, and it's not a win. Did you see the reporting by I think it was the New York Times, that said those B-2 bombers that flew out of Missouri heading toward Guam, that was a distraction, not for Iran, but for Donald Trump, so he didn't give away the plan as to what was
really?
going on with Iraq or
Yeah.
with
Wow.
Iran.
I
Yeah,
saw that.
because they were
Yeah.
afraid he was gonna tweet it out in live time as to what was going on and put the pilots in jeopardy.
Well, and that's the whole point. Everybody hears the story how Iran pulled all their nuclear weapons or material out and moved it to a different location, and people are saying, how did they know? Well, Donald Trump told them they were going to bomb specific places 3 days before. Of course they're going to pull the shit out. He didn't accomplish anything in that bombing run. He did everything wrong.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And the fact that the Pentagon had to come up with a diversion for him, and while not really telling him the full plan of what they're doing, if this had happened under Biden, we'd still be hearing about it 4 years
Yeah.
later about how
Oh, yeah.
unfit he is for command. Why isn't anybody removing him? 25th Amendment, all that. But you know what you hear out of most of the mainstream media regarding it? Crickets. There's a little
Yeah.
reporting, but they're not saying anything about, how fit is he for command or anything.
Yeah, no question. So, Rebecca, are you winded today with all the shit show that's been going on?
I am, and I'm also really mired in Trumplafucks right now in this chat. It's like
Yeah,
insane.
I'm blasting them
Like,
out
Okay.
of here.
Well, I'll let you get back to business there because I got somebody I want to pull up. Go ahead.
Yeah, this guy's
Oh.
gone.
Okay, so Rebecca and TJ are dealing with some of the Trumplafucks out there, and this next person I'm pulling up, I don't think I know her, but I'm pulling her up strictly because of her name, and it's because her name is Aunt Tifa. Aunt Tifa, how are you doing? It's good to hear from you, and what's on your mind?
How you doing? I'm just this whole thing where he's like there's a definite ceasefire and it's going to happen and the war is going to end absolutely unless they don't, but they will. And of course, and like and it's not going to, and then it's
No.
going to be somebody's fault. And it, like, on the first day, he was going to end the whole Ukraine thing. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. What part of the country are you in, Antifa?
I'm in New England.
In New England. And have you had much issue with the ICE agents out in your
No, but I'll
area?
tell you what, that was, I have my grandson, his father came over here when he was 3, right? He owns like a business, like a really nice one, a good one, a big one, and a house, and he pays taxes. And he's legal. And my grandson, though, is a naturalized citizen. And they're plucking people all over that neighborhood from right out of there. And I mean, these are legal. They're either legal or they're in the process of, or, they've been here for 30 years and where are all the MS-13 raids? That's what my question, where are they?
They're too afraid
Well-
to do them.
Yeah. So that's that whole thing, like, my grandson is at risk, and because they don't, like, they're just doing what they want. They're just, like, it doesn't matter. So, no, I haven't seen any around here, but, like, I'm right on the water, I'm kind of like, I haven't seen a whole lot around here. But yeah, it's a heavy, anywhere there's a heavy, any kind of Latino population, that's where they are.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I heard of a couple of times they scooped up people today. One of them was a Marine veteran. His wife, while breastfeeding their newborn baby, she was taken, and now this veteran has to go to the detention center on a regular basis just so her child can be fed. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. And then there's this gentleman who has 3 sons, all of which were in the military. He's been in this country for 30 years. They came up, grabbed him up. Not only did that, they beat him up. They dislocated his shoulder and beat the hell out of him. This is what Donald Trump and the ICE agents are doing. I have yet to hear one gang member that they picked up.
Right.
It's one thing if you accidentally get a citizen here and there, that's one thing. But I haven't heard of one gang member that they've been able to show us that was exactly the kind of people they were looking for. It's fucking ridiculous. They're just looking for numbers right
Well,
now.
that's the thing too. They invented like these ghouls, and I mean, do you remember when that whole convoy went down to, like, what was it, Devils something in Texas, to see all the criminals coming over, and
Yeah.
nothing happened, like they didn't see anything, and then a couple of people claimed to, and I was like, well, where are the pictures? Didn't you get anything? There were none. They were just none. So,
Yeah, it's absolutely disappointing, and everything that happens seems to be a distraction for the last thing. And it's frustrating, especially when something like this ceasefire thing happens, when we know it's bullshit, we know it's not true, the fighting's not going to stop in the Middle East.
No.
We've been trying for decades. This thing with Israel and Iran is going to continue. Let's remember, Israel started it. Iran's not a great bunch of guys either, but there's, at some point, as MAGA has always said, America first and stay out of new wars, that apparently has changed in a lot of these people's minds, because there are now people that support Donald Trump going to war, even though while he was running, they supported no new wars. So
Right.
you can't trust anything these fucks say.
No, it's literally anything this guy does. Anything.
No, and it's potentially going to change. Well, Aunt Tifa, I love your name. Thank you for coming up. I
All right,
appreciate
I'll
it.
see
You're
you
welcome.
soon. Okay.
You're welcome anytime.
Okay.
That is Aunt Tifa. That is one of there's only one that would be comparable of the names that people come up here. There's Aunt Tifa. I like that one. And then there's Shat GPT. He was a good one too. You got to like Shat GPT. Let's see who else is out there.
Well,
Okay.
Don't forget, when it comes to all of this with Iran and the whether or not they have nuclear capabilities, Obama had a deal in place that would have had
Yep.
inspectors and would have prevented them from developing nukes, and Iran agreed to it. They agreed to not make nuclear weapons. Donald Trump gets in and goes, "I don't like this." Rip, rip, rip. Tosses it in the wind, and here we are 8 years later with no new deal. And now he says, "Well, they should never have gotten it." He's the reason they had a chance to even get to this point in the first
Yes,
place.
100%. And
Well,
those AEIA inspectors have full reign to come into the country and inspect anything and anywhere they want.
yeah.
That's always part of the deal. Like if they made that deal, they can come in unannounced, and the Iranians have to let them in.
But this is standard for Donald Trump: create a problem and then try to fix it and try to be the hero. It's almost like, those people that have Munchausen's by proxy, who make their kids sick and then tries to pull them from the depths of death. It's the same fucking thing. He's creating problems, or the fireman who goes and starts fires so he can be a hero. It's fucking absolutely crazy. We have somebody with us right now, Radiant Mahogany. How are you doing today? What's on your mind?
I don't believe I'm sitting here. Um,
Why?
I'm 80 years old.
Nice.
I've been listening to you a while now.
Thank
Um,
you.
I want to know if I can ask you a question, or maybe you can satisfy my.
Curiosity?
Yes, that's a good word. That's a good one. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm an open
when
book,
are
whatever
we
you want to
going?
ask.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
just
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I want to know, when are we gonna pull him in and trial begins? I'm so tired. I'm
Well, I tell you
weary.
what.
Yeah.
Well, nothing's going to happen to Donald Trump until he's out of office and we have Democrats in control of the House and probably the Senate. Not until Donald Trump's in office. The Republicans haven't shown any stomach for doing anything decent
Okay.
or
That's
doing anything with regards to rule of law. We've got to wait till he's gone and done. And I got to tell you, I feel like he's kind of in a spiral now. He's having trouble managing everything that's going on, and he's starting to be a little shaky. So hopefully that's soon.
now I'm 80 years old. Okay, I'll be 80 next year. I was born in 1947, and
Okay.
I ran around here when Dwight D. Eisenhower was president. This was way before you were thought of. But I, I have never in my lifetime, through my college days, through my school days, witnessed anything so atrocious. And that's all I wanted to say to your listeners. This is a total abomination to the laws of this land. Even I go to venture to say this is just almost as bad as slavery. It's almost as bad.
It's,
This is, well, see, I lived through Jim Crow and all that, so there's nothing you can tell me. But
yeah.
I I I I equate this to our rights being taken away, not being able to satisfy our longing, what we want as children, what we want for our children, and basically that's all I want to say. Please
Well, I
protect the families.
absolutely. I appreciate that. And being that you're 80 years old, you've known we've gone through some bad times before. Case in point, the 60s. You were around
Yes,
in the
I was
60s.
absolutely.
And I don't know if you can compare the 60s to what's going on now because it's different, but the 60s were bad too. I was pretty young at the time, but
But you know
we
what?
will get through. We will get
Well,
through this.
we will, but that was mostly LSD. If your mind can take you back that far, we were loose lipped, loose everything,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
on the
But we had all
experiment.
those assassinations. We had the
That's
Vietnam
right. And
War.
we were experimenting, and it's always been about our freedom, whether or not be able to handle our freedom and what it
Right.
meant, what it means to us. We've got to get back to those days that it's sacred. Freedom is
Yeah,
sacred. So I
it
just wanted
absolutely
to.
is.
I didn't even know I was on your panel, I'm sitting here at my dining room table. I didn't know whether when you called my name, I almost fainted. But I am so glad to meet you. Thank you. I'm glad to be on your panel. I hope that soon that somebody will get the fortitude or the wherewithal to challenge this man and I mean just get sick of it. I just I can't take much more. I just can't.
Here's the interesting thing. You're a year older than Donald Trump.
Yes.
And somehow you're able to complete sentences and have cogent thoughts. I mean, what's different about you than him? Besides, he's fucking nuts.
Bless you, bless you. Well, it could be that I have had two degrees laid on
Okay.
me by the state of New York, and you don't come out of New York University half-assed. Excuse my
Yeah,
vernacular.
true.
You just
True.
don't come out of here. You don't come out of this educational system wondering and lost, and that's part of my education. Then I worked for the biggest automotive company in the world. You might as well say, yeah, yeah, it was.
Okay.
So for 32, let me see, was it 32 years now? About 32 years. So I'm I'll put it this way. I'm not bragging. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't dare brag. But I had the education and I've had the job experience. I thank God I'm willing to teach any uh, female. Right now, women of color are on the rise. Thank God, finally, we're getting our just desserts. And I'm so happy about that. You can't look down at us anymore. That's another thing that I'm proud of. And I'm glad that I'm able to communicate because I studied to show myself approved. So I thank you, sir. So I really thank you, sir, for
Oh, thank
recognizing
you.
that out of me.
Well, somebody's got a phone call here. I think it might be Radiant. Okay.
Hey, Mike, there's a woman in the chat, Nana or Nana, that says she's
She's
from Iran and wants up.
she's an
Okay.
Iranian.
Okay. I just want to say
It, it,
we lost Radiant Mahogany. I just want to say to her, thank you very much for coming on the show. She talked about her education. I think her greatest education is the education we all get if we recognize it, is living the lives we've lived. If we're smart enough to see what happens, remember what happens, and react accordingly after you know what the fuck is going on, life in general is a hell of an education. And it was wonderful having Radiant Mahogany up. And I'm sorry we lost you there, but anytime you want to stop back, you are welcome to show up on the page. Now, Rebecca, you were saying the name is Nana.
Yeah,
yeah.
Nana. I don't know if it's Nana or Nana, but yeah.
Okay.
And in between the guests coming up, to everyone in the chat, don't interact with Trumplafucks. Just ignore them and let us deal with them because they're ridiculous. There's almost 1,000 people in here, and we're kicking them out. But don't even respond to them. We'll just get rid of them.
Yeah, don't talk to them. They're inconsequential. They don't matter, and they're too stupid to speak at the level we need them to speak at. All right, we have a guest on. Nana. Is that how you pronounce it?
Actually, my name is Nadia, but I just put Nana here to remain anonymous, I guess, but I ruined it.
Well, there's a lot of Nadias out there, so that's all right. So you're from Iran.
I'm Iranian American. I moved to U.S. when I was in my 20s, so born and raised in Iran. Lived here for 10 years. Thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate you guys letting me chime in.
No, thank you for coming on.
I just wanted to let you guys know, like as much as I don't agree with Trump's position on a lot of issues, I'm actually a physician in the U.S. A lot of his policies I'm not okay with, but when it comes to Iran, I did want to let everyone know, in Iran, they, like, when you go to school, the first thing you have to say is like they force you into saying death to America, death to Israel. Like even though we don't
Yeah.
believe it, even though we love all these countries, obviously I'm here and love this country. Um, and I actually agree with what Trump did because when Israel attacked Iran, if they left that area without actually getting rid of the nuclear um, site, I guarantee you the Islamic Republic of Iran would have made a nuclear weapon. That is their ultimate goal. That's been
Yeah.
always their goal.
Well, I think it's important to say this too. We can miss this point. As much as we may not like what Israel did, and as much as we don't like what Donald Trump did, I mean, it's all warmongering. None of this really had to happen if we truly had the agreement and it was being operated properly. But Iran isn't our friends either, and Iran isn't a friend of a lot of people in the Middle East. They're aligned with Russia, and that's the whole idea of a regime change. Do you think that's possible in Iran, and do you think it's necessary?
I absolutely believe it's possible. Every year, every other year, people of Iran get out. The last one was in 2022. Women Life Freedom. They lost 1,300 people. They killed their own people in 3 days, more than what Israel did in like 2 weeks. Again, I'm not saying war is good. War is terrible. Iran has gone through so many wars, but regime change is absolutely necessary to have peace in Middle East. And honestly, one of the things that Iranian people were upset with was the deal Obama made. I love Obama. The only thing I did not like about what he did was the nuclear deal that he made. They were not really following orders in Iran, and the money they got from U.S. they used it to fund terrorism around the Middle East, the Houthis, the Hamas, and other atheists. And
Right.
a lot of situation that happened comes from the Islamic Republic, that regime. And I honestly feel like until that regime is gone, no one is safe. I was telling my husband here, I was telling him, if Iran keeps going this way, I don't feel safe in the U.S. As an Iranian, I can tell you how horrible this regime is. They don't care about their own people, let alone people they hate.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, Nana or Nadia. Donald Trump comes out and says we have a ceasefire all of a sudden. Iran says, well, we haven't seen any kind of paperwork on that. Can we trust that Israel or Iran is going to continue this ceasefire and be peaceful and try to figure this thing out? I get the sense that neither side is really prone to doing that. They kind of go toward the trying to wipe out whoever their opponent is, and as long as they're still around, they're going to keep fighting. What do you think about that?
I think you're absolutely correct. I don't think there is going to be a ceasefire. At least they may stop for a month or two, but they're gonna go back to like fighting, either Iran with their proxies or Israel attacking attacking Iran. I as much as I love my country, I've been in tears watching like my friends, my family call me. They're scared, but at the same time, they were also hopeful that this issue, with all of this, the government is getting weakened, so they can get out and actually get a regime change at the end. But in Iran, they have like these televisions that says how many days left until Israel is over.
Right.
If let's say if it was your country, you would be like, okay, they have a clock counting down to the day we're done. I don't blame Israel for wanting to protect themselves, in that sense. Like, if Iran is constantly provoking everyone. When I say Iran, it's Iranian regime, not the Iranian people.
Right. No, I got you. Well, do you think this country, the United States, is at risk given the circumstances we're in. We apparently have no national security. The people running our national security, our homeland security, they're all buffoons. They don't know what they're doing. Do you think we're at risk from Iran from terrorist attacks in this country? Some people were talking about sleeper cells and stuff, and I don't know if that's real or not. But from somebody who comes from Iran, is that something Iran is capable of?
You know, that's a very good question. The 2 days ago, we had this protest in San Francisco for, pro the Shah's son. And I was about to go, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not sure if the government of Iran has someone here." And I actually got scared to go. That's a very real fear. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I don't think they have the guts to actually do this. When they attacked the U.S. bases in Iraq. A couple hours ago, they called and told them that we're going to attack you guys. Please get rid of people in there because they don't want to escalate. They're scared. So I don't think they have the guts to do. They just want to keep face. And in their state TV, they're like, "Oh my God, we destroyed U.S. and we destroyed Israel." But we all know that's not true. Everything they say is just to keep face.
Yeah, no, I get you. Now, as somebody who's an immigrant, do you have any concerns about ICE and that sort of thing, you or your family, while you're here in this country? Is that something you're worried about right now?
No, I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm worried about other people. I have friends who are worried, and my heart breaks for them. I have friends who've lived here since they were 3. And they have to live in fear. I'm sure about that. And again, 99% of Trump's policies I do not agree and I don't like, and went against. The only thing is because I know what's going on in Iran and I know that regime. That's the only one positive thing I feel like he's done. Just because I know what's going on.
But you think it's a positive thing because you have your issues with Iran, and I understand that. I can't imagine living in that kind of climate or that atmosphere. And I understand that you're happy that Trump would do something against Iran to try to get rid of this regime. On the other side of the coin, as American citizen, do you really want your president, without being provoked, going in and bombing another country, whether it be Iran or some other country?
I absolutely.
You understand how people are worried about that?
Absolutely. Again, as a physician, I'm a doctor here, and
Okay.
my duty and my oath is to protect human life. So
Right.
war is not something I will ever look forward to or like, or just I'm 100% against it. The reason I'm saying what Trump did was okay was because given the circumstances that the war between Iran and Israel already attacking Iran's bases and sites, if they didn't get rid of the breadcrumbs, Iran for sure would have gone for a nuclear weapon because they know they do not have the support from their people and other countries against them. So their only way of existing would be to achieve nuclear weapon. And nobody.
Do you think you talk about breadcrumbs? Do you think Iran had any substantial development on nuclear weapons at this point, where danger was imminent, or was, like you say, just going to get breadcrumbs and just stopping them early?
I absolutely believe they were very, very close. Unfortunately, I do have a cousin who is part of that regime. I don't know how I ended up there.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I do not talk to him, but I have heard that is actually a true story.
Okay. Well, Nadia, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. It's great to hear from somebody with a different perspective, and And I appreciate it. I'm glad you're in this country. I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad you're taking care of other people. And you're more than welcome to come back anytime. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing me to talk. Again, I hopefully everything works out for the best. I love everyone, and I hope everyone remains safe and love. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Thank you very much, Nadia. I appreciate it immensely. So to the guys in the panel, TJ, Rebecca, Analytical Island, do you think this locks it up for Donald Trump? Do you think he gets the Nobel Peace Prize now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, he's going to get it.
You know, not for nothing, but like his staff could just give him like a paper mache one, and he'd probably think he got it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He'd think he was absolutely. Well, I mean, he thinks of himself as a superhero. He thinks of himself as somebody who's better than everybody. That's what you got to understand. And as I was talking about in a TikTok, he makes a bad decision. He fucks up. And then he tries to find another way to mask that or change that or give people a different perspective. And I really feel like Donald Trump is at a point right now where he's trying to juggle too many things. And this is the imminent demise of a narcissist. They get too caught up and they get overwhelmed by all the things they're trying to juggle, lies and stupid things and covering this up. I think he's getting to that point where he's just not able to handle it as much as he once was. And he is, well, somebody's saying, Larry Nix is saying Trump is falling apart. And I get that same impression as well. We've got Will with us right now.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Will, what's on your mind today now that Donald Trump has become a worldwide hero?
Yeah, I saw that. And before I found you guys, I just did a video. I'm beginning to think that they did this as a setup for him to make him feel happy. I could see BB coming to him, hey, dude, you want your Nobel Peace Prize? This is what we do. And everyone's in on it. And now he's got his ceasefire 72 hours. Ain't happening. I don't believe Trump's words. He could say white is white. All I've gotten today with Trump-lefucks and their fucking comments is ceasefire and oil prices are down. Trump is God.
No.
You guys just shut up.
Will, the Iranians
oil prices are not down.
The Iranians are saying it's absolute bullshit.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I just looked it up.
Well, what does he do when the fighting starts up again? Does he go threaten them?
He
Hey, you're
blames
making
Joe
me look
Biden.
stupid. Yeah, of course, Joe Biden. This is all on Joe Biden at this point.
And one
It's
thing,
unbelievable.
what's lost in all this, did you get Pam Bondi's fucking act in Congress today? That
No.
was ridiculous because they were asking her about enforcement and all that. And she went off, anyone touches an ICE agent, anyone who does this is going to get the full extent of the law. Okay, let me make this clear. Someone get rid of that flag. I'm so mad. So let me
What
ask you
flag?
this. This is a big Trump flag in the thing. Someone just threw it up there.
Oh.
So, when an officer arrests you, there are certain rules for them to do it. I watched this weekend a guy landscaping, a father of 3 Marines, get pepper spray, jumped on, beat, and dragged out for only being Hispanic, who was working on his green card, who's been here for 30 years, has 3 sons in the Marine Corps, and they didn't even give him a chance to explain it, so they just beat him to the ground. LA
Right, I
burned
saw that.
to the ground for Rodney King, and they don't have any they're not facing consequences.
No, they're not.
Not facing
They're not.
consequences yet.
What?
The
Yeah,
but
that's a good point.
are coming.
But the point is, you saw Pam Bondi saying that she doesn't consider them, they're immune from this. The tactics they're using are illegal. And someone made a comment, it's time for local police to say, hey, these people are hurting your citizens. This
Yeah.
is wrong. It's time to step up. Because this is getting ridiculous. That man did not deserve to be beaten to the ground. He was, 63? God
Yeah,
almighty.
He was an older guy. Yeah, it is kind of frustrating. I'm going to pull somebody else up here, somebody who's been on another live. I think it was TJ's live. And we've got, since we're talking about LA anyway, this is Shell in LA.
Yo,
If
what's
I'm
up?
pronouncing, is it Shell or Shelley?
It's Shell in LA.
That's
Hi.
what
Good
I
evening,
thought.
guys. I just wanted
Good
to talk
evening.
about the fact that Newsom is discussing that he's going to start arresting ICE agents that don't have ID in order to verify that they're ICE agents.
I like that.
Hey,
I
know
like it
what?
too.
Hey, Shell, did you see that Channel 5 report? It came across my YouTube
I
where
did.
they have stopped fake ICE agents trying to enter schools to take children.
We are getting requests. I'm in another LA group, and we're getting requests for people to go and be in the immigration appointments so that when people come out of the appointments, we can assist them getting to their vehicles and make sure they're getting to their vehicles safe. They're asking for groups of 5 for each person that's being interviewed by immigration to go from the office to their vehicles.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know,
it's very
I think
important.
I think this is one of the things I've been thinking of. We see these ICE agents out there, and we question whether they're real ICE agents or not. Because if they aren't ICE agents, then what they're doing is tantamount to, if not absolutely, kidnapping. But there's no way to know for sure if they have the mask on and they have no identification. But if the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, can work this out where these people have to identify themselves, that might break some things open. If we start revealing that there are ICE agents in Los Angeles who aren't ICE agents, who are just gravy seals or whatever the fuck they are, that's going to cause quite a bit of concern from a lot of folks. And
If-
Donald Trump's going to have to prove all of them.
If-
I
are
completely
legit.
agree.
If
I'm
there's
not I haven't always been the biggest fan of Newsom, but he has stepped his game up like nobody's business. I'm very, very happy with the way he's responding now.
I mean, I never seen law enforcement with that look like, 5'4", 8, 6, 440, wearing a vest that fits over their breast, and with a beard that makes that looks better than Eric's beard, running around
Yeah,
trying to
Yeah,
pick up people. I mean,
yeah. No,
geez.
if you're wearing an ICE vest and it looks like a halter top, you should probably get a bigger vest.
Probably. The other thing is there was a group of people in Santa Ana, which is in Orange County, which is just south of Los Angeles for people that don't live around here. And the people from Santa Ana, they would not let ICE get through. ICE had to back down and move out of the neighborhood because they weren't having it. None of us are having it anymore. And we're not playing games anymore. We're using our bodies, we're using our cars, we're standing in the streets. We're not letting them get by. We're not playing.
And that's what it's going to take, unfortunately, because like we've talked about, whether it be the DOJ or whatever, nobody's holding them accountable. So we're the last line of defense, meaning the people of this country. And it's unfortunate that we have to do that, but it's good seeing people stepping up and seeing people like Gavin Newsom stepping up and using whatever power they have to try to stop this atrocity.
Maybe
It's
we should
crazy
start
that they're-
using.
Go ahead.
Maybe we should start using some of their own tactics against them. Like maybe people should start organizing in their cities some people with body armor and some groups of men and use the Proud Boys tactic, rent a Penske truck, get in there, because those paintball guns with the pepper balls, that's totally legal.
Yeah.
Buy some pepper spray, bear spray, whatever you got, and show up there. Take 20 guys and show up. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Wear
that's
masks
true.
just like they do. We're all black, so you know that who's the good guy and who's the bad guy.
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is, and I saw it in shows, I think, talking about what happened in Bell, California, too. The Bell police showed up and took those people out and saved them. But at a moment, one of those guys stood up on top of their truck with their weapon and started pointing at people. And I'm getting afraid these Navy SEALs are going to get trigger happy soon.
Well, yeah,
I'm
that's why
thinking
I'm
also
saying
that-
we should send our own people out there with
Agreed.
tear gas, with pepper spray, with the pepper balls, and probably some of them with firearms, and let them try to move 25 people out of their way in body armor.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to do that. They're even asking us if that we see something going down with an ICE agent that we can identify as an actual ICE agent, that we dial 911 and say we see somebody being kidnapped.
Yeah, I
mean,
think that's
LA is getting organized. There's all kinds of sub Facebook groups, and they really are getting organized and fighting the good fight. And the other night on your live that you had the other night, you had one of your guests say that the women shouldn't be involved and the women need to stand down and let the man handle it. No, I'm not standing down. No,
Fuck that.
I agree.
I'm not
I've been
letting the men handle
I've been
it.
rewatching Vikings recently. I'm not standing down.
I am the fuck not standing down for shit. I'm 62 years old. I'm a stage technician in the industry, and I lift walls still. I'm not playing.
And also, my mom knew how to use a shoe. So most Latina women know that, and that's scary.
We call it a chancla.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, right.
I called it painful, but okay. I deserve it, though.
I know how to use a gun and multiple other weapons.
She does.
I also know how to use a pew pew. Why would I stand down?
I mean, that's the thing. These guys are so brave. What are you going to do about it? Well, you're really about to find out. Because here's the thing. They keep forgetting about Los Angeles. Everyone's calm. But you do something really, and it sets it off, there ain't enough troops to stop that. There won't be. It will get bad.
Well,
I don't think they understand how many Hispanic, Latin people there are in Los Angeles. Like the other day when they were trying to pull people in at Dodger Stadium, they didn't even comprehend. Dodger Stadium sits on a place called Chavez Ravine.
Yeah.
Chavez Ravine. That is a Spanish name. They thought they were going to just come in there and it was going to be okay. It's not okay.
Well, I've noticed something about the ICE people. Well, the fake ICE people. They're probably the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and all these clowns that are in there wearing masks. When you see this stuff going on, the LAPD and other places, the police department are wearing gas masks. They're wearing them. But the ICE agents are not. So they're coming out there with their little gator mask and their Proud Boy tattoos covered up. And so pepper balls and bear spray would work very good against those people because they're not protected from it. There's no equipment.
Yeah, that's true. And, yeah, absolutely. So what's going on in Los Angeles right now, Shell? We keep hearing about the city's burning, much like they said Minneapolis was burning. That's not the case. It sounds like there's not a lot going on.
The city is not burning. It took a little extra time to get to work today. I traveled southbound on the 405. There was an accident. That's it.
Yeah.
There was an accident. There was tonight. Apparently there was a bomb found in South Central LA tonight, but I don't think it has anything to do with the current situation in LA. It's been sunny. I haven't seen any commotions. The only time I see an actual commotion is stuff that's been organized.
Yeah.
And they tell us, here, let's meet here, let's meet there. Like on Sunday, everybody was out at the federal building protesting. But literally, I haven't seen anything other than when ICE is going out there in big groups and the people are now going to meet them in big groups because we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that at all.
And I'm waiting. I'm waiting for them to push what happens in the push in Chicago. That's not good.
I think Los Angeles is pretty tough against situations like this. Do you feel like the resolve is still there with the people of LA in dealing with this situation? I know it flares up at first, and you got big crowds and everything. Is the resolve seem to have held in Los Angeles?
So I'm going to tell you how much it's resolved. There's two very large gangs in Los Angeles. One is called the Vagos, and one is called, shoot, I can't remember what the other one is called. But they have called a truce so that they can start, once the people get in their cars from their appointments and immigration, they're following them home. They're literally,
Wow.
and these are two gangs that don't get along. They
And
literally
talk-
have called a truce for this.
you've noticed that they keep talking about we're going gang members. Have you walked into gang territories? No,
Yes.
you have not.
I
They
have.
have not set foot in gang territories because they're waiting for them. LAPD doesn't even walk into gang territories without asking permission.
They do not. And the great thing it was when we had the big No Kings Day protest, they were right there with us. They never got off their motorcycles, but they were right there with us. And you didn't see none of that on the news. You didn't see none of that cooperation on the news.
No,
Nobody
you
talked
didn't.
about that, but they stood right next to me. And of course, you don't take pictures of them
Right.
because
Right.
you don't want their faces on the news with on their motorcycles, and they were there revving their engine and protecting all of the people that were there because they're done. I want to explain something when we talk about the protest in Los Angeles. So when you go to the federal building and you protest, the federal building is about 3.5 blocks from the 101 freeway. And every time there's a protest, they block all of those entrances and exits on the 101 freeway. I can't for the life of me understand why at the beginning of these protests they weren't blocking those entrances, because that's a pretty well-known thing that happens every time. And for some reason, the first 3 or 4 protests, they didn't block the on and off ramps.
I don't know.
Because they stopped traffic, they got on there. But I 100%, everybody's talking about July 4th. I'm not sure what day that falls on, so it'll probably be a weekend day that we get out there and protest, but we're going to be out there strong.
Yeah, I think Wednesday's the 2nd, so Thursday, I think it's Friday is
Fourth
the
is
4th.
Friday.
I think. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's very opportune going into the weekend. People will be. Now, is there still this sounds like a dumb question with all the other stuff going on. I haven't kept up with everything, but there's still National Guard and Marines in Los Angeles still?
Yes, there is still National Guard and Marines. They're not doing much. They're mostly in at the federal building in Santa Monica. That's the area where I went to the park and picked up the nannies and the babies
Right.
that the nannies were babysitting. They're in that area, which is
Wow.
mostly Caucasian, except for the type of workers that are like the nannies and the people who clean houses and the restaurant workers and stuff like that. But I work at Fox Sports, which is in that area, and the restaurants that we go to in that area now all have locks on their kitchen doors, so they can lock the doors and the staff can go out the back so the police can't get to them
Wow,
or ICE can't get to them.
that's amazing. That's
I have,
amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
I have a question for you. Well, I was going to ask Willie and Shell, but so somebody in the chat said something about they think that some of the ICE, in quotes, agents may be undercover cops in their off time. Do you think that may be true, or do you think that's complete bullshit?
No, I don't think that's bullshit. I think LA has a really bad problem with their cops. Their cops are gang members. So, like I said, I'm 62. My husband passed away in 2020 of COVID and cancer. And before that, I can't tell you how many times I was drugged out of a car and handcuffed and told it was for my own benefit to keep me safe. Safe from what? The person I had been married to for 20 years? So
Yeah.
LA's police force in general has a little bit, well, not a little bit, they have a problem. And they have their own gangs.
Yeah,
So
Absolutely.
heard
it
that.
is 100% possible.
Yeah, I just wondered if you thought they would overstep those bounds and put their
Yes.
job at risk for that.
I definitely do.
Wow.
Well, we also have that Orange County sheriff that's running for governor, and he is straight out of the MAGA box.
Oh yeah, for sure. We were reading all about him the other night.
He's a mess.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of them. Well, Shell, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
I'm glad we were able to get you up here, and you're welcome anytime. It's always great
Thank
to
you.
hear your input from the West Coast. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that is Shell. First met her at TJ's Live. We've got another person we know, and Will is back, so I'll put him up here too.
Couple things with these state charges potentially for ICE agents they were talking about.
Yeah.
Remember, if Gavin Newsom does have them start going after him for not showing ID, things like that, those are state level charges. And this is probably going to be what they typically do in these investigations. They get the people on the ground level, and then, okay, well, who authorized it? Okay, then that person gets state level charges, and they keep going. Donald Trump will end up disavowing somebody. Somebody's going to be the fall guy for this. And of course, he'll say, I didn't know anything about them not using real ICE agents. They didn't tell me.
And
Yeah,
they're not
of
real
course.
cops. There are even bigger felony charges attached to that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it's kidnapping and assault and all that shit.
And Rebecca, yeah, she was right about gangs. In the 70s and 80s, the Firestone Station in LA County, for the LA County Sheriff, which is basically a gang. They referred to them as the Stony Boys. They were racist.
Wow.
They were ripping off drug dealers. They would warn people like, "Don't make me call the Stony Boys." Yeah, that's pretty ingrained in LA County and LA Department law enforcement.
I mean, it doesn't really surprise me. I was just curious as to what you guys thought because you were there or lived there in the past.
All right, we have our in-house activist. Old Soul is with us. Old Soul, what's up with you? How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How's everybody?
Good.
Are you free?
Yeah, I'm free.
You're not detained?
I had a story about a Republican congresswoman. I'm pretty sure people in the chat heard about her. But from my understanding, in LA, it's a combination of people. It's the corrections officers, it's the bounty hunters, and I don't know if anybody paid attention to this, but Kash Patel sent 1/3 of our FBI agents to assist with the ICE raids now. So we also have them in the mix. And so that's why you're seeing like a bunch of different stuff, because these are just random people. I think the reason that they're like cross agencies and all that stuff is because their budget, they're like over their budget. So they can keep spending, but I don't know what happens when they exceed that budget. Eric, do you know what happens when that happens?
Well, when the money's out, I think there's some limits they can do to continue to spend. But there was a hearing in Congress. I think they were talking to Kristi Noem and said, "Hey, you're set to run out of money here by the end of, I think it was July, and
June.
It was end of June, and we've only given you budget for all the way to September." You know, they were talking that potentially somebody could be facing felonies for overspending. Congress will have to give them more money because they're still spending money that they don't have.
Yeah.
So that would apply to immigration enforcement as well?
Yep, it's a crime.
Would it be Kash Patel, or who would it be that's held accountable for that?
Well, it would
Kristi
be-
Noem.
It-
It's Kristi
it could
Noem.
end up on Kristi Noem because ultimately she's the one at the end that would be responsible for the budget. Now, are the Republicans going to pass something that would give her more money, possibly, and maybe prevent anything? But that's part of why you're seeing Donald Trump wanting to call in the National Guard. They're now having the FBI help with immigration. They were trying to force states to help with immigration
Right.
because the money and the budget isn't there to do what they're doing. And both Obama and Joe Biden were able to handle way more deportations and handle immigration way better on less of a budget because they were doing it the correct way, not doing it this what do you
Concentration camp way.
roughshod
Illegal
approach.
way. Yeah, illegal.
So that makes sense
Yeah.
as to why there's so many agencies that are assisting with ICE is because they've pretty much run out of money. And so at the end of the day, they're following Christy Nones. But I mean, those other agents, they have their own budgets too, though, right?
Right. And as they're diverting funds, it's going to, Donald Trump is treating the federal government like it's an endless bank account, which it's not.
Right.
That's going to come up. And on this topic of immigration, there were a couple things that did happen. I don't know if you guys saw, the one judge said that the DOT cannot tell states they must comply with immigration enforcement to receive road grants and things like that. That happened. And then from the big, beautiful bill, the Senate parliamentarians said that the provision requiring states to help with federal immigration enforcement cannot be part of the bill. So that's also going to be cut. Their ways of trying to get around this budgeting thing isn't working.
So what do you think is going to happen next? That they've diverted resources from other agencies, and now even those agencies are going over budget. What's the next step at this point? I personally thought that they would just keep doing it anyway.
They're going to try, but ultimately I think Congress is going to have to pass something to extend the funding. But we're seeing cracks in the Republican Party. They're not unified. So can they do it without Democratic support? I don't know. And it could be a thing where the only way they get any more funding for these agencies passed is if somebody's got to take the fall, and that maybe that is Kristi Noem, who knows? But I bet you at least one or two people high up in the administration end up resigning over this thing before it's all said and done.
What do you think the odds are of Democrats signing off on an extension for their budget? Because that's concerning too.
They better not.
Actually, well, if it comes with, it won't be an unconditional sign off. It would be something with, you give us something that we can agree to, and we'll sign off on it. Something like that. Whether that's
You give us back democracy and we'll sign off on it. That
Yeah,
sounds like a
something-
fair trade.
it'd be something big, like maybe they get it tacked in. I know they're trying to pass a war powers resolution to prevent Trump from acting in Iran. Maybe they tack it to something like that. Maybe it's some more protections about court orders. I don't know what the ask is going to be, but it's going to be something big, I bet.
If
And
they
they're
go
going to get
in
something
there,
on their wish list in order to keep the funding going.
if they go in there with an extension to give money to Homeland Security, and Chuck Schumer says rolls over without saying, "Yeah, we'll give you the money once you have due process, once you set up standards for this immigration, lawful standards. Oh yeah, and once you get Stephen Miller from the White House, we'll sign out on that." But if he does this, well, we're going to do this for the good of the country. I will.
I don't think they're going to do anything just for the good of the country. I think we're almost at the tipping point with the No Kings protests and just the sentiment in this country right now. I think they're going to get something, and they're going to get a few big things on their wish list out of the Republicans to avoid this. I could be wrong, but that's just my gut feeling.
I have a question for all you guys. Anybody who can answer this, I'm curious, and people are asking about it in the comments. The Supreme Court came down with a decision that allows Donald Trump to send immigrants to third-party countries. You guys know anything about that, Eric?
Yeah,
Anybody?
6-3 decision, right down the pike. They can do what they want. They can extend. It doesn't matter. My biggest concern right now is that 14th Amendment question of birthright citizenship went before them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way things are going, if they overturn that constitutional amendment because this Supreme Court doesn't give a shit about precedent, then it's going to be on, because that means millions upon millions of Americans are going to be targets. And
I haven't
that's
read a lot
scary.
on that decision itself, so I don't know if it means that they can, if it's just about whether or not they can be sent to third-party countries, or if it means that they still have to have due process before they get sent.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
that's a good
I'd have
point. I'm not
know.
sure of that either.
They
They
even
didn't
brought up
mention
due
due
process.
process.
They
No, it
didn't.
didn't.
They just said, keep doing it. We're fine.
Yeah,
Because the other judges
Yeah.
are all saying, they haven't said that they can't send them there. It's just you must give them a reasonable amount of time to face trial, which so far, the consensus so far seems to be 21 days.
Yeah, well,
And we'll see if that holds.
how the fuck are you going to send somebody to Libya that's a Spanish speaker? I mean, that doesn't even make any fucking sense whatsoever.
Well, they're doing it
It
now.
doesn't.
They're sending people from El Salvador to Venezuela. They're just sending them wherever the heck they want to right now. So that wouldn't be any different than what they're already doing. Okay,
I would just say that my wife and I will volunteer to go to Bali if they want to send us there. Just to let you know, we're Americans, but
I've got a list
we'll
of
go.
places we could be sent. I've got a big list.
Absolutely.
Have you guys
absolutely.
heard of a
If they want to
representative? I think her name is Comac, if that's how you say it. She is a lawmaker in Florida, and she is a part of the pro-life caucus, right? So she just came out that she had an ectopic pregnancy, and
Yeah.
the doctors were telling her that you are going to die. And so she was like bringing up the law and showing them the law. Yes, you can do this, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no. So then she reaches out to Ron DeSantis, only because she's a lawmaker that she has his phone number. But she reaches out to him, and they say she attempted to reach out to him. But you cannot tell me that he did not pull any strings. I've worked with so many women in Florida. If he did not step in, that Hammer would not have got that abortion. Do I wish
Absolutely.
that she should have died or anything like that? No. But I do wish that she would have had to go through with what other women have gone through, having to leave your state, having to uproot your life and go through all of this stuff. I wish she would have had to go through that. Because now she is saying, this heifer is literally saying, she is saying that she does not blame the laws in Florida. She blames the pro-life crowd and the Democrats for all the fear-mongering that we are doing.
Let me
that is
let
making
me give you
Democrats afraid
let me give
to
you
do what they-
reality in Georgia. They took a baby that they forced out of a dead body.
An incubator.
woman
That's what she was.
died. Forced her they kept her on drugs against the family's wishes to have this fetus that they had to pull out because the body was decaying.
Right.
So, lady, shut the F up because it's true. What
Well,
you've done.
she
But Will-
experienced it. She almost died herself, and now she is saying, like, yeah, I'm still pro-life. Yes, I'm still for these restrictions. And it's not the doctor's fault, and it's not the Republicans' fault. It's
No.
because of all the fear-mongering that Democrats did. And she said it was like something like fear-monger at its highest or some kind of factor. She said, this heifer almost died.
Yeah,
And now
but old-
she's sitting here signing off saying that I'm comfortable with other women dying because technically I didn't die, so I'm good. And I got Ron DeSantis' number on my phone, so I'm good. That
Well-
shit pisses me off. Go ahead.
Old soul, it's laws for thee, but not for me.
Right.
That's what it is.
I don't
that-
understand how she could say it with a straight face.
That's
Because
what I
she
have a
actually
problem
believes
with.
it.
That's why I have a problem with people who voted for Donald Trump and are now saying, well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have voted for him. You voted for pain and suffering for others. When you got that pain and suffering, you said, oh, that's enough. And I don't feel any empathy for them. This woman, had she died, she did it to herself.
She's pregnant
Right.
again, and she's due next month. And for me, I'm sitting here like, I hope she has a healthy delivery, and I hope that her baby is healthy. I just wish that with her previous situation, she would have had to go through what other women go through. On a
You know what
daily
I hope? I hope her
But because
fucking
she's
baby.
a governor, she's good. Oh, hell no. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I said I hope her baby's a Democrat.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I was
Absolutely.
hoping for 36 hours of painful
Yeah, 36
that's
hours of labor, bitch.
labor. Hey,
All right, I'm bringing somebody else up here right
C.
now. C Temptation. I know C's got some shit to say. What's up,
She's
C?
gonna talk
What's
some
going
shit.
on, Mike? How you doing?
Stacy.
I'm doing good.
Hello, everybody. First, I want to apologize for not having a live. I think it was on Friday because I had a bad headache in Chicago. I mean, it has been, the weather's been high in the 90s. As a matter of fact, it's supposed to be hot the rest of this week. It's been, woo,
Yeah,
it's
it's
been
hot.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
us too.
I kind of want to talk about for a second about one of the videos I did where Donald Trump strikes again with one of his freaking lies talking about a ceasefire. And because I saw a video from the Midas Touch, found out that Iran stated that they never talked to him and they're exploring options in terms of seeking revenge on the U.S. And I talked about that on one of my videos, and it's sickening on how we have to suffer because of this one man's decision. And he's just a liar, and like you said, Mike, he's a narcissist. He's just his tunnel vision is all about self.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's just constantly trying to cover up for himself or try to juggle this shit. And it's getting to be too much now. It's becoming overwhelming,
Exactly.
which is what happens to every narcissist.
And you know what? And I did another video. I took a quote from one of the great writers, W.B. Du Bois, where he said, either America will fight ignorance or ignorance will fight America.
Yeah.
So, yeah, think about it, because if you think, and then when I did the research on that quote, as Americans, we need to do more reading, we need to do more research, we need to focus on critical thinking, we need to learn how to think for ourselves and not just follow somebody, and his direction is just the complete opposite. We're trying to go left, and this fool wants to go right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Du Bois was right. Ignorance is fighting us right now. That's our problem. Ignorance is running this country. Ignorance is policing this country. Ignorance is in our judicial system. This is a fight. This is a war, and we are fighting ignorance. No question about it.
And not only that, though, and then when I saw the same video from the Midas Touch, and they was interviewing J.D. Vance, the only thing that this fool was talking about was worried about how Iran is going to build nuclear weapons. And I'm sitting up here, well, goddamn, motherfucker, what about the American people? What about standing up for us? Our lives is on the line because of these bastards. What the fuck are you going to do about it? And I'm going like, are you for real?
The only thing that I would say about that is we're not going through all of this because of one man. We're going through this because there's a part of this country that is extremely racist, and they would rather see us burn to the ground before they see everybody have equal rights. Not to mention the cowardice of the Republican Party and the complacency of Democrats. So this is not on Trump. This is on the Republican Party for not standing up and doing what they need to do, and also for the Democrat Party because they're not fighting hard enough. When this whole Iran thing came out, they were not out there instantly saying this is illegal, this is what he did. Even right now, they should be out there pounding it into everybody's brain that the mission wasn't even successful. The only people who are hearing it is us. It's not reaching the people that it should reach. So they don't have to be out here doing AOC and Bernie and going on these tours. All they need to do is just be out there in public, be on social media and call this crap out. And they refuse to do it. And that's why we're in this.
well, I think Mike and I addressed that last night, Mike. Well, I need to bring up what you brought up, why we talked about that. The reason
Which
why
one?
Democrats aren't really saying anything during the live, you brought up the Israeli PAC, what we were talking about last night.
Oh, yeah. This will probably get me in trouble, and everybody's, we've got the Republicans and the Democrats, and nobody really speaking up about this. Not everybody is speaking up about this. So we have to remember one thing. A lot of members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats, get a lot of funding from AIPAC.
Yeah.
That is there's a lot of money there. They exercise a lot of pressure. And some of these Democrats, like maybe Schumer, maybe Hakeem Jeffries, they're afraid to piss off their sugar daddies and sugar mamas. And that's part of the reason we don't hear anything out of the Democrats. The problem is it's getting worse and worse. And these people will then have to address the voting public. And hopefully
let me
we'll
just
be
add
able to
to
set
that.
it straight.
let me add to that. Let me just add to that, Mike, because it's not those Democrats. The real Democrats are the 23 governors and also the attorney generals. Those are the ones
Right.
that are going to actually stand up and fight for us.
Right.
Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, only thing they doing is just, creating a pissing battle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely right. We a lot of people think our problem is just with Republicans, and I'll grant you they are a dumpster fire. But we have a
They
lot of
scared
problems
of
with
Trump.
the
That's why
Democratic
they're
Party.
not doing say anything. They scared of Trump. They a bunch of them. They ain't nothing but some wusses.
But
We
I
have a
thought
bunch of people in leadership, but we have very few leaders. That's the problem.
the Rolling Stone had a good article today, and yes, the Rolling Stone has good news. Check it out, guys. They're talking about the headline was while Republicans push ICE, Democrats worry about David Hogg, and the whole article was why the entire country is burning down. Democratic leadership is worried about David Hogg because he spoke bad of the old folk. And I
Yeah, they
read
get
the
tough
article,
with
that's
David
so
Hogg, but
true.
not with the people that are the true criminals.
Exactly, and that's the problem. They just, again, it's frustrating because they still don't see the forest for the trees. And by the way,
Yeah.
the forest is burning down. Have you
Yeah.
noticed? I have.
You know what
Apparently,
that's
some
like?
Democrats haven't.
For me, what it's like is like, let's say a bank, they closed up at the end of the day and they didn't lock the vault and they forgot to lock the front door. And that's what Congress is like right now. They are all just stealing until their heart's content. They are just robbing us blind. They got their dark money. They sitting here buying the dips that Trump is creating in the stock market, like all of them. That's what they're doing. So they're not speaking out against Trump because they are sitting here, what my grandmother would say, living high off the hog. That's what they are doing. So why would they speak out?
Logical.
But that's the point. We need to remind them of why they are in the positions they're in. They are there to serve the country and serve us. And unfortunately, all they're serving is themselves. And that's Democrats too. And somebody said, forget about David Hogg, he's gone. No, he's not gone. He's not the vice chair of the DNC, which is a ceremonial position. He's still out there as an activist, and a lot of people should be activists like Old Soul and everybody else that speaks out.
Remember,
We
if you
need some dramatic changes in the Democratic Party. We
if
just
you want
do.
an example of the problems with the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi is running for re-election. That's all I got to say. That's it.
And she need to
I'm
go
not- and
somewhere
I'm not- and I'm
else,
not-
'cause she old as hell.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not disparaging her who she is as a politician, but lady, you saw what happened to Dianne Feinstein. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
She needs to be
It's done.
primaried. Tell me.
Retire.
She
Sit
needs to be
back.
primaried.
Thank you.
Do something from the outside. You are part of the problem. Let someone
Yeah.
else in San Francisco step up. I'm pretty sure there are a few.
Yeah.
It's insane. That's insane. And that's what pisses everyone out because you get in the way of people like AOC. We know what you did to her. We know what you did and what you're going to do to Jasmine Crockett, too. Those words are, she's not going to get that position on the Ways and Means. They don't want her to have it because the old folk don't like her. Get out of the way.
Mike, only thing
Well-
I'm going to say is, though, that we need to contact our local officials. We need to get involved with non-for-profit organizations like the indivisible.org. If we can get involved with the NAACP and also this other one, what is that, AOJ, something like that. I got to look it up. But, we need to start getting involved ourselves because it's obvious we can't depend on the government. We got to depend on ourselves now. But like I said,
Yeah,
we've got to fight ignorance or ignorance is going to fight us.
And
Yeah,
we need
we-
to
we-
make our government afraid of us because right now they are afraid of a few people. And without this country, it does not run. Jeff Bezos cannot single-handedly run Amazon. And none of these people run their company to be working for us. So why are they afraid of them, but they are not afraid of us? So we need to make sure that we are kicking certain people out of Congress. You kick them out, and you're getting like new ideas, fresh people in there, fresh ideas, that will make a difference. But we have to do our part and get their butts up out of there.
Right, and that's why it's
Yeah.
important that we have to step up, and every voter in this country need to haul their asses to the damn voting polls and get in there and vote and get those Republicans the fuck up out of office, because they're not doing anything but fucking everything up, and it doesn't make sense.
And July 4th, have you noticed that MAGA is flipping the fuck out about the new protests on July 4th, saying that you can't take our holiday from us? This is the 4th of July. Bitch, that's my holiday too. It's Independence Day. That means we celebrate when we told England to go fuck themselves, okay? No, and you know what? We're going to tell Donald Trump and you people to go fuck yourself on July 4th. That's
July 4th, every person should be out there protesting. We shouldn't be barbecuing. We shouldn't be popping no fireworks. Fuck that. We need to start standing up for our rights and using our voices to speak out.
Well, I tell you this. They talk about us taking their holiday. Well, you took our fucking flag, and now you know what's going to happen is the Democrats are going to fucking take your lunch, eat that motherfucking lunch, and spit it back in your face. That's what's about to happen. So get fucking ready. You can act tough, you can act strong, but we know you're cowards, and you back down every time there's pushback. That's why we have to continue to push back in every way we can possibly do it.
And just like it, and that's like another quote: "Get ready or get lost."
Yeah. Yeah. I've said that too about people who will come out here or come to my comments and say, "Oh, there's nothing we can do. The sky is falling. He's got everything
That's
gamed.
bullshit.
We're
That's
just going to lose."
bullshit.
If that's how you feel, like I've said, C Temptation has said, if that's how you feel, go curl up on the sidelines,
And
cry
sit
yourself
your
to
ass
sleep,
down somewhere.
and we'll wake you up and bring you back as soon as we're done fucking some people up, because that's unfortunately we have to do.
Wait,
I mean, you could use them as human
wake
shields.
up.
It's going to be, it's not, and we talked about it last night, Mike, it's just that it's frustrating because you get to the point, like I had the live tonight that all this shit went down. We're all sitting there going, now what? But what we're watching right now is that just be patient, because these incompetent assholes are not succeeding because they're incompetent. They're
Yeah,
just,
they're losing.
you're watching them flail right now. What are we going to do? Well, we got to do this. You guys don't know what's going on, and you try to lie to us. And the thing about it is, all this patriotic bullshit you're trying to sell us, like saying, hey, you have to support American war. No, we don't. Well, now you're on the Iranian side. No, we just don't want to be into a war with these people. Oh, yeah, well, we knew they had nukes. Yeah, where was the intelligence? Marco Rubio admitted, well, we didn't have intelligence. Then why did you go to war with no intelligence? We're not buying your bullshit. And it's frustrating them because they know it.
Well, Marco Rubio said, do you have the evidence? Do you have intelligence? And he said that's irrelevant. How is that irrelevant?
How the fuck is that irrelevant? Just like Donald Trump was crying about why he didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize. Well, bitch, what the fuck did you do to try to create peace? What the hell did you do to create, to be a help to the Americans, to humanity? What have you done? The last 6 months, you have caused nothing but destruction.
Let me ask you this. Of all the people who have ever won a Nobel Peace Prize, have you ever heard any one of them beg to get one? This whiny little bitch says, I want one. I want to be special. I want people to like me. Donnie, I got news for you. 75% of this country, minimum, hate your guts. They do not like you, and your time is short. And it's going to be over at some time in the not too distant future, and you're going to have a lot of shit to deal with. So, if you do yourself in with an overdose of Big Macs, well, that's probably the best route for you.
The thing about it is, he's just basically, let's bottom line, saying the black guy got one. Why can't I get it?
Well, that's really the only reason he wants it.
Barack Obama.
He just acts like
a big ass baby. That's all he doing. When he start crying and whining because he ain't getting his way, then he wants a pacifier and stick it up in his mouth. But I'm like this. I'm to the point with him, he could take his little pacifier and stick it where the sun don't shine, if you know what I mean.
He thinks
I think it makes
You know,
he's like, you know how he plays golf and he cheats. Everybody's like, oh yeah, we'll just give it to you. He thinks that everything in his life should be like that. That people will just give it to him just because he's him. Like he does nothing to earn it. This is the most toxic, arrogant, narcissistic person I have ever seen in my life.
Here's a question for you guys. Here's a question for you guys, and because bottom line is this: you're seeing the people they're picking up. What is it with the Republican Party and Trump and all that they hate people of color or immigrants hustling for a living? Because the United States was never the greatest country in the world. It's the greatest opportunity in your life. If you take it, if you hustle, everyone hustles. Those people are working for a living. What is it about that? And then they say they're taking jobs from white folk. No offense, guys. They've hired white folk and they don't want them anymore. And bosses say that. Construction crews say that because they're not dependable. And it's the truth. I'm sorry. What is it about these guys?
And it's really amazing, Will, just to add on top of that, they don't want white folk. But if that's indeed the case, why the hell did Donald Trump sign that executive order saying that he wanted to discontinue civil rights and DEI? What the hell is up with that?
Here's the problem with their thinking. So they're thinking if you are brown or if you're an immigrant, anything like that, that you need to earn every single thing that you get, and you need to struggle while you earn it. And then, because this is quote unquote their country, it should just be handed to them because this is their country. Why do they have to struggle and work hard like the immigrants and we don't belong here?
Also, let me correct you on one little small thing. We are the original people. We discovered this country. The majority of the inventors here in this country were black. The original human being that was created was a Homo sapien. And where did he come from? Africa. And I got a book, though, with the page to prove that. I got the receipts. So, they just want to try to strip our blessings, but that will never happen.
Well, you're dealing in logic and facts, right? They don't deal like that. This is what they think from them being emotional. They still think like we had segregation at one point, right? And they don't understand that when we were segregated, we had our own hospitals, schools, Black Wall Street, all of that. And then you have racist people saying, okay, we're going to give them freedom and they're going to come back to us because they're too stupid. They won't be able to survive on their own, blah, blah, blah. When they see us surviving on their own and they see us doing good, what do? They come and burn our cities and our states to the ground.
Especially if we're thriving.
They're lynching people. This is what they're doing out of anger. So for us, it's dangerous to be segregated because if we are segregated and we are handling business and we are thriving and they are not, they feel threatened by that. So
the difference is, though, we're about construction. The difference is we're about construction and the administration is about destruction. That's the difference. That's the difference.
No matter what we do, unless we are like the stereotypes that they have in their mind, if we do anything better or outside of that, they are going to feel threatened by it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's more dangerous to live segregated than it is to be actually a part of society. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If I just want to make Stephen Miller wants 100 million people to look like him. No.
So that means 100 million people not getting a date? Is that what he wants?
I have my woman taken by Elon Musk. Do you understand how bad that must be? To have your woman taken by Elon Musk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here's a high school video. Gotta look it up because he's been like this since high school. There's a high school video of him. I forgot what he was running for, but he is giving a speech and he is talking about the janitors being lazy, and they are so lazy that the kids in the high school are having to pick up their own garbage, but the janitors are getting paid for it. It was the craziest speech I have ever seen, and this fool was in high school when he did it. He is a bad seed. He was born bad.
Elon Musk being successful with women is clearly just because he has money. It's not because he has a great personality or a stylish look. It reminds me of something my dad once said, because he was a really sweet guy. It was a joke. It wasn't me. He goes, "That kid's so ugly. You got to tie a pork chop around his neck in order for the dog to play with him."
Think of it.
No respect, no respect at all.
Even Trump had to pay for it. You think he got Melania because of his charisma and his great personality and business?
Look,
sense?
Melania, let me say, Melania wants Gavin Newsom. We've seen it.
Melania,
Yeah.
everybody but Trump.
Yeah.
Did you see what she did to the president of France?
Oh
In
yeah,
more ways,
Yeah, I saw
than one.
She's like,
More-
save me, motherfucker, please.
In more ways
Well-
than one.
Well, Melania is heterosexual. Let's just say that she's heterosexual, and as a heterosexual woman, she would like a man. Unfortunately, she doesn't have one. She has a big shit-stained, pumpkin-headed mushroom. Yeah, exactly.
Every morning she wakes up. I'm serious. Like, I swear to God that every morning she wake up and she just looks and she's like, he's still alive. Damn.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
I know
pissed.
that's what she's thinking.
Well, she just waiting. She just counting down the days until Trump make his transition, and she'll be like, "Okay, how much of a bag I'm gonna collect?" That's what she's waiting on. Everybody's
She's
still.
not even gonna go to the funeral. Watch.
The second he's like out of office, she's gonna divorce him because that's the end of her cash cow. Because he's gonna be
Yep.
he's gonna be done.
I'm surprised she's hung on this long.
She's siphoned off money. I don't think there's going to be money for her, but I know she's been grifting that man. She's been grifting
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy. She's got cash somewhere stored in Canary Islands. Trust me.
And I got to tell you, Barron started off okay, but now he kind of looks like a freaking ager. If he's going to want to get dates, he's going to need money too. He's going to need a lot of motherfucking money.
He does look like a
Did you see that video, Mike, where he was trying to apply for Harvard, but they didn't give him the time of the day because he's not Harvard material?
No.
No, hell no, hell no. I mean, if you're that
was
fucking
like,
tall, at
dude,
least
get
be
out
able to
the
play
fuck out.
basketball.
What you say?
If you're going to be that tall, at least try to play fucking basketball.
Or football or something?
Yeah.
Did you guys
Okay.
see the meme? Did you see the meme about Barron where they're like, just in case the draft is enacted, just remember that bone spurs are hereditary.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you
And
know,
I got it.
this is something I don't think like MAGA pays attention to when it comes to politicians. When they're always talking about, these liberal colleges, they're indoctrinating children and all of this stuff. Barron Trump goes to school in New York. And then if they look at these politicians whose children or grandchildren are going to college, they're all in these quote unquote liberal indoctrination camps, right? But they're going to
Yeah.
sit here and tell their children not to go there. Stuff like that doesn't even cross these people's minds. If they don't think about stuff like that, how many private schools do their children go to with book bans? None of them.
Well, it's okay.
But they don't
It's okay
understand
for
why
their
they-
kids to go to there because they're already racist. They don't want somebody that's going to go there that might be indoctrinated to being a human. They're already inhuman. They're already racist. They're already misogynist. By virtue of how they were raised. I get a kick out of them saying, "Well, Barron Trump will be president," or Don Jr. Don Jr. Really, motherfucker? I wouldn't let him drive. I wouldn't let him drive my car. Let
got
alone
enough
be
crackheads
president of the
in
United States.
Only thing Barron needs is a swift kick in his ass. That's what the fuck he needs.
But Donnie can't get his leg up that high.
Let me do it, goddammit.
His diaper leaks enough. Jesus Christ. Don't make him
well,
think
yeah.
anybody.
See, Temptation, I know you know this. I know you know this line. It's gonna hurt you worse than it's gonna hurt me. Or it's gonna hurt me.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
Yeah.
No, it won't. I
Just tell him
like
that
it
before
is,
you
and that's
say
that. And I dropped the mic.
I was thinking about Donald Trump, wearing the diaper and probably wears the diaper to bed. I was talking to my daughter-in-law when she was just about to give birth to the new baby we have.
Okay.
And I said, how you do with bodily fluids? She goes, not good. And I go, well, you got a new baby now, and I'm just going to tell you, It's not uncommon. You put a boy baby to bed with the diaper in the onesie and then wake up with feces from his neck all the way to his knees. And I'm just trying to I'm trying to imagine Donald Trump waking up in that same way, probably sleeping in his little his little bathrobe.
He needs to be in a nursing home some damn where.
I don't
Yeah.
think because he has other people that's cleaning that up for him.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that interview? And they talked about The Apprentice, and they literally that they paid to come and like clean him up.
But he did. But a while back, he had an interview talking about he went to the doctor and had a clean bill of health. Get the hell out of
Yeah.
here. That's indeed the case.
My
Why
ass.
you wearing a cap?
How much do you have to be paid to be Donald Trump's handler?
Quite a bit.
I don't even want to know.
There's no amount of money.
Mike, did you
could
see that
fucking pay
comment
me.
on our podcast about the guy who said that why are we picking on Trump's weight because we're both fat too? And I saw that and I go, yeah, I have no problem with it. He's the one who keeps telling me that everyone he's 6'10", 210. Please.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing I've told people before. You want to shame people for weight. The fact that I'm an old white guy that is overweight gives me carte blanche to talk shit about other old white guys that are fat. I mean, it's just like anybody in any other thing. See Temptation, an old soul can say the N-word. I can't. Well, I can take old white people to task because I don't trust old white men for the most part, unless they're Democrats.
Me
And
either.
honestly,
Fuck no.
have you ever smelled how musty an old white man smells after a period of time? Gets to be 65, 70 years?
Yeah.
Motherfucker. And I'm 65. So I dare you to try to cancel me because I talk
Hey,
shit
Mike.
about fat old white people.
Mike, old white men smell like hot dog water.
Yeah.
You know, that is like one of the things, and I'm pretty sure, Will, you've come across this when they talk about like the tolerant left. When did we become intolerant? We're supposed to just welcome them with open arms when they say, "Oh my God, I made a mistake." There was
No, fuck
this
them.
guy called Popper, and one of the things that he said is if we extend unlimited tolerance to those who are intolerant, then tolerance will be destroyed and tolerance along with them, which means it becomes a point where you just can't be tolerant. I have to
Yeah.
speak with MAGA how I speak with MAGA. I can't talk to them like people who have sense. I can't sit down and have a conversation with them. I can't ask them about policy. So I have to talk to them in a language that they understand. And they don't understand
Or don't
it.
talk to them at all, because just like I said earlier, we have to step up and get education, get the reading, do the research, and focus and foster critical thinking. They don't do that. They just follow whatever this man said. He think everything he says is the truth, and that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to that point where I'm going to wrap things up. I just want to let people know what TJ said has some validity. I personally wear a cologne that is ode to Nathan's because I like the Nathan's hot dogs better.
Just so you know, in New York City, the dirty water dogs are mixed with lemon water, so they probably smell better than other places.
No,
That would be too fresh. No,
Wait,
we don't do that.
Rebecca, Boomer, before you get off, Rebecca, I texted Boomer, I think it was yesterday, and I was talking to them about how they are blaming Biden. Like they're saying, okay, so if there's any future terrorist attacks, it's because Biden opened borders and we don't know
Bullshit.
how many terrorists came in, blah, blah, blah. I remember I was on a live with you, it was Truckers Live, and I said, how long are they going to keep blaming Biden? And you said for the whole 4 years, they're just going to do it.
Yep.
And I really didn't believe that until yesterday. And I was like, oh, God, Rebecca was absolutely
Who
right.
else are they gonna blame?
Biden
They're gonna
for
blame
4
Trump?
years, and MAGA's going to let them do it. They're going to fall lockstep. It's going to be everything wrong with Biden. This is crazy.
Absolutely.
Everything that we say and like, he can't do that because Congress didn't approve it. Fuck that bullshit. Like it's game on. Like he's just gonna keep doing it, and nobody's gonna fucking stop him until
I said the same.
Stops him.
I said the same thing to Mike a while ago. They're gonna blame Biden all the way till the end of Trump's presidency.
I mean,
and probably afterwards.
the head of our terroristic counter task force is a 22-year-old kid who previously worked at a grocery store. So it's just kind of like, if you see stuff like that and how unserious it is, if there is an attack in this country, sleeper cells or whatever's going on, how could you blame Biden for that? Like, how do you rationalize that in your mind?
Because,
So the guy
because
who
Donald
buys my
Trump,
groceries is now in charge of that? Fucking fabulous.
because
Yeah,
Donald Trump,
he's 22. Look it up, Rebecca. When you see him, he's 22 years old. His previous experience is working at a grocery store.
yeah, Donald Trump only hires the best people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just remember.
Take a
that.
look at his picture. Take a look at his picture too.
Oh yeah.
The 22-year-old
he's a
kid.
chick magnet.
He's sitting there and he's got his left eyebrow up like, I'm serious. Yeah. You're a 22-year-old serious motherfucker. That's right. You look like the kind of guy I would have beat up in high school.
If you thought Big Balls was bad, wait until you see this little prick. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait till you
He's
see
pretty
it.
bad.
Fire
At this
tonight.
point,
I've
I
already
would take
seen his picture.
I would elect D's nuts over these.
Oh yeah. Yeah, D's nuts is a pretty serious dude compared to what we got in there. I'm going to wrap things up because if I don't, it takes forever to upload this stuff. So I appreciate you guys all coming. TJ, Rebecca, Eric, Old Soul, Will, Sea Temptation, and everybody else that helped out and joined in. I appreciate it. I love doing these lives. So thank you all very much for taking the time. Those of you listening, thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Be safe, y'all.
Be safe.